Hey, Mom.
Yes.
So what are we doing today?
We're going to make a chocolate meringue pie.
A chocolate meringue pie. So back by popular demand, last year, what did you make for me?
Russian tea cakes.
Russian tea cakes, yeah. So that was at Christmas time.
Yes.
All right, so chocolate meringue pie. From beginning to end, how long would you say it takes to make this?
I have never timed it. Maybe less than an hour.
Okay. All right, so what's the first thing we need to do?
We're going to separate the eggs.
Okay, why don't you show us what that is?
Okay, I'm going to use 3 eggs.
Now, so this is going to be a chocolate meringue pie, but you could also make this, instead of the meringue, you could do it with whipped cream, right?
Yes. So I do this at one at a time, so that if you break the yellow in it,
Do they call that yellow
the yolk,
yolk? Okay.
if you break it, then you can start another one.
So you've got 3 eggs that you've separated the yolk from the egg whites.
Yes,
And the egg whites are going to be used for the meringue.
for the meringue.
And what are the yolks going to be used for?
The yolks are going to go in the filling. So I'm going to set this aside, and these will be warm enough to room temperature.
The egg whites will
The
be.
egg whites will be. And now I'm going to do the pie crust.
Okay, now one of the issues with making the meringue is that the meringue sometimes will weep.
Yes.
And what is weeping?
Weeping is that it kind of like the top of it will get little bitty bubbles on it, and then around the edges of the pie you'll have the liquid coming out. So it's like the egg whites don't hold their shape. They start breaking down, I guess is what it is. They start breaking down. And I've tried different ways to keep them from doing that. And one of the things says make sure that your bowl is really clean. Make sure that you got them at room temperature before you start whipping them. And one says use cream of tartar. Some don't tell you to use cream of tartar. I'm going to try cream of tartar. But this was a pie that my mother made all the time. And hers never weeped, and I couldn't understand why when I made mine it weeped. And then I finally figured it out was that when my mother made these pies, she made them for supper.
And they were eaten in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, she made the pies, she cooked supper, we ate supper, we ate the pies. So they never had a chance to weep.
So it's normally after you make the pie and you put it in the refrigerator, and when you pull it out later, it has all this moisture that's come out of the meringue.
And it happens whether you put it in the refrigerator or if you just leave it in the room temperature.
Okay.
So we'll see how this comes out.
All right. Now, you could skip the meringue and really it'd make this a lot easier if you just did a whipped cream topping versus the meringue, right?
Yes, that would make it a whole lot easier.
I kind of wanted a whipped cream topping, huh?
Yes, you did.
But you said a meringue pie was more of a southern tradition.
Yeah, it's if you do it the other way, it's not really a chocolate meringue pie, and that is like a southern tradition pie.
Okay, all right. So we have separated the egg whites from the yolks, and the egg whites are going to warm up to room temperature.
Yes.
And right now you're going to make a homemade crust, huh?
Well, a homemade bulk crust.
All right, so we're cheating a little bit.
It's not from scratch, but it's a rolled crust that I'm going to put in the pan, shape, and bake.
Yeah. So, if you could obviously make your own crust at home, but if you choose to use a store-bought one, when you do this one, you actually form it around the pan yourself. So it actually is very passable for a homemade crust.
Let's
because
hope so.
because it's going to have that kind of hand-formed look versus the ones that you get frozen in a pie tin.
Yes.
Yeah, that look absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so this will not look perfect. It'll look more like it's homemade. So, all right, let's do that.
Okay, I'm going to turn the oven on to 450.
And that is for the pie crust.
Yes.
Because the pie itself, the filling gets cooked on the stove, right?
It's cooked on top of the stove.
What brand is this, Mom? I think it's Kroger.
It's Kroger's.
And there's another kind of pie crust that you can get, which is all the dry ingredients.
Yeah, I have used that one before. That's more like making your own, but not quite.
This is kind of in between getting the dry ingredients prepackaged and doing the dough, and versus the one that's already formed in the tin. How often did your mom make it?
She made them all the time.
And was it always a chocolate meringue pie?
No, she'd make chocolate meringue, and she'd make coconut meringue, and a caramel meringue that was delicious. But it was even more complicated because you had to cook part of your filling, and then you had to take part of the sugar and put it in an iron skillet and caramelize it, and then pour the caramel syrup into the pie filling that you had already cooked. And that basically had to be 2 people. Somebody had to pour the filling in while somebody else stirred it in the saucepan.
Now, how many pies would she make, your mom?
She made 2 at least.
There were 12 of you, right?
Well, at the time that there was 12, she was probably making 3, but then there wasn't 12 that long before I was gone because I was the oldest. In the oven at 450 for 10 to 12 minutes.
All right, Mom, so what are we doing now?
Okay, right now I'm going to start putting the ingredients together for my filling. So I'm using 1 cup of sugar, and I'm going to put, this is 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder. I'm going to mix that in with the sugar. I just try to get a lot of the cocoa mixed in with the sugar before I add the flour to it. And you don't have to get it completely mixed in, but it helps to do that. Now I have 3 tablespoons of flour, all-purpose, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And I have the salt in with the flour.
So it's all-purpose, so you don't have to add baking soda or baking powder?
That's correct.
All right, so what are we going to do now, Mom?
Okay, we're going to add 2 cups of milk to the 3 egg yolks.
And is that whole milk or 2%?
It's whole milk. Recipe calls for whole milk.
And that is the 3 egg yolks, right?
And the 3 egg yolks.
And how about beating? Are you supposed to just beat that lightly?
You just get it all mixed up pretty good. Get your yellows all broken up and stir it in with the milk. Some people just dump it all in there, but I kind of like to get it mixed up some. Now I'm just gradually adding this over here to this.
And Mom, what was your favorite dessert that your mom used to make?
Chocolate meringue pie.
It is, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You just slowly beat in the egg yolk and milk into the cocoa mixture.
And then you just start out cooking it on about medium heat and cook it till it thickens. And I can't tell you how long to do that because every pan is different and every stove is different. So you just have to cook it until it's thick.
Are you taking the pie crust out?
Yes, I'm taking it. I browned that crust and I'm taking it out of the oven. because that's what I need to brown the meringue when I get the pie finished.
Okay. So the filling that you've already mixed up is going to go on the stove. You're going to cook that. After you cook that, you'll pour that into the pie crust, and then the meringue will go on top, right?
Yes. And I'm just going to cook this until it thickens up, and I think it's thick enough. And you need to stir it all the time.
Now, when you take it off the stove, does it continue to thicken up? Because I know when I make custard, and I have to screen that custard after I take it off to get the lumps out, but it will continue to thicken up. Will that happen with this?
If I don't get it out of the pan pretty quick, it will, because I'm cooking in a copper bottom pan, and the copper bottom pan holds the heat.
So do you bring it up to a boil?
Yes.
And then you just continuously stir it until it gets to the right consistency?
Yes, And I'll try to time it to tell you about how long it takes. But it doesn't take a long time once you get it up to the boiling point.
It's already starting to smell good.
Starting to thicken, starting to bubble up. And I just kind of cook it till I think it's about the right consistency. I just turned the burner off because the burner is so hot.
I mean, you pretty much get to a consistency of like a pudding. Okay, so I don't know, kind of see what the consistency of that is. It's like pudding.
Okay, now I'm going to put a tablespoon of butter.
Do you know if that's salt or unsalted?
It's salted. And a teaspoon of vanilla.
And you put that in after you've cooked it, because it would just cook out if you put it there in the beginning.
Yeah, you put it in after you cook it and stir all that up.
Smells good already.
Now I'm going to pour it into the baked, slightly cooled pie crust.
You wanted to lick that spoon. I saw you.
And if you leave some in the pan, the kids always like to lick the pan.
Really?
Yeah.
Any big, like older kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, bring it over here.
Okay. I'm getting my direction over here. Okay, so what do we got in this? Remind me.
Okay, now this right here is the egg whites, and I'm going to start beating them. Now you could do this on an electric mixer, but
You need to start that down on slow and then gradually.
I'm going to beat them until they're glossy. Now I am going to add a quarter teaspoon of tartar sauce.
Cream of tartar?
Cream of tartar.
You're going to add a quarter teaspoon of.
Cream of tartar.
Okay. No tartar sauce in
No,
this?
not any tartar
sure?
sauce. Just a quarter teaspoon of cream of tartar.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe we were going to have some fish sticks or something.
Okay, I'm going to start beating that in. And gradually add my sugar. Which is 4 tablespoons.
Now, you added 4 tablespoons of sugar, right?
Yes, and I'm going to beat this until it's stiff peaks. This is as stiff, I think, as they're going to get. Okay, now I'm going to add it to the to the pie filling. And then you want to spread it across the pie till you seal the edges between the filling and the crust. So you don't want any little holes between there. So now we're going to put it back in the oven.
And the oven's at 350?
Yeah.
Can we open the door?
Yes. The oven is at 350. And we're going to put it in there and just until the meringue starts to turn golden.
Okay, Mom, how long has it been in the oven?
11 minutes.
11 minutes, okay. And the cookbook says around 10 minutes or something like that?
10 to 12.
All right, is it ready to come out?
It's ready to come out. Golden brown.
Look at you, you're all confident now. A little less stressed, huh? So this is what you're looking for, right? In terms of golden brown?
That's the way it should look.
Now you're a pro, huh? Yeah. So, does it have to cool before you cut it?
Yes, you have to let it cool down before you slice it. Or if you cut into it, it'll run if you don't let it cool.
Okay. I like your gloves there. Those are cool. All right, so we had dinner, right?
Yes.
We did. Did you drink anything?
I had like a glass of wine before you served my dinner.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yes.
so maybe you were a little relaxed now, huh? All right, so it's been sitting. So it's set.
It's
It's had plenty of time to set at this point, right?
It's cool.
So you're going to cut it, and it's just going to all come out perfect with no problems. And it's going to be just like a beautiful piece of pie, the most beautiful pie ever in the world. Are you feeling the pressure?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I'm feeling the pressure.
Oh, wow, look at that. Let's get a hero shot. Get you in the foreground. Is that background?
Background.
Pie's in the foreground. Get that straight. It's dark. Hopefully we can see it well enough with the light. All right, you guys take a bite. Let our viewing public know it's a true story. Your unbiased opinion, Mom, of this pie.
I think it's pretty good.
That's very good.
Victoria,
That's very good.
you like it?
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Vicky from Tennessee. We leave tomorrow, Mom. So, are you excited to get rid of us?
No, you know I'm not.
So we just, we've been here a week. We drove in on our cross-country Jeep tour, camping across the country in national and state parks. And we leave tomorrow and we'll do some more camping. But, Vicky, do you think people should subscribe?
Definitely.
So what would you like for them to do?
Hit the subscribe button.
Well, what about the like button? Should they do
The
that?
like button and the alert button.
Okay, cool. Mom, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Goodbye.